Yes, and we terrorized the subway system on a great level. So we always got on at the last car of the train, but we robbed everybody from the last car all the way to the front on the same fucking train.
You couldn't ride it then. My first case was in 1989. My charge was 18 counts of robberies. I didn't do none of them. The trains then, like, you couldn't ride on the trains.
So then, leave it open.
You couldn't ride it then, like.
December 22nd, 1984. The ingredients of fear stewing in the collective unconscious of the Big Apple all come together in the perfect storm of race, revenge, and violence on the L train. Bernie Getz, a self-employed computer repairman from the East Village, enters the subway at the 14th Street Union Square station. He is soon approached by 4 black teenagers. Getz drew his .38 caliber revolver and fired 6 shots at the teenagers. All 4 of the men were shot. Getz then, according to certain witnesses, approached one of them, aimed his revolver and said, "You don't look too bad, here's another."
Bernhard Hugo Getz, who in the shorthand of the street and the press has come to be known as the Subway Vigilante, was released on bail last night, a Welcome Home Bernie sign greeting him when he got to his apartment.
Do you have anything to say to the people who are out there supporting you?
Thank you. Today, more signs of support as Getz went to court for a preliminary hearings. The shooting took place on just one subway in just one city, but Bernhard Getz and what he did has touched something in Americans all over the country. They're talking about him in Denver.
Obviously, everybody's on Bernie Getz' side, and so am I. I think what you're saying here, people are saying they're mad as hell and they're not going to take it anymore.
Option number 1, stand idle by and allow the hoodlums to kill you. Option number 2 is to pray that the police can do it, even though we know they cannot. And option number 3, the Bernie Getz solution, who unfortunately is being called a vigilante. And if he's going to call him a vigilante, let's call him the good vigilante.
It was a robbery on a Jewish motherfucker that I didn't do, right? It was in between Saratoga train station and Rockaway train station. He was riding and going to his stop, and niggas robbed him for his Louis Vuitton book bag and a Swatch watch. Swear to God, I was so fucking mad because I ain't do it, but I got caught, affiliation.
Getz became a hero to many New Yorkers who felt New York streets had been surrendered to the thugs and criminals under Mayor Ed Koch.
We think 5 criminally minded people met on the subway that day. When he put the gun in his pocket, he became the people he was fighting. He broke the law.
He ended up serving less than a year on Rikers Island. 2 of the men Getz shot were later convicted of raping and robbing a pregnant teenager. Their brain-damaged partner won a $43 million lawsuit against Getz in the mid-90s. Getz claims he hasn't paid him a penny.
I think there's a psychological delight that the people that have been pushed around for a long time are pushing back. I hope they find healthier and more productive ways to push back than by shooting people.
Homicide peaked in New York in 1991. Black and Hispanic males were the primary victims and killers.
At one time, son, remember we used to come out the house and we didn't even know if we was gonna make it back, home, like, serious. Like, that's how Browns it was, man. Like,
Coming out your house, you ain't know what was gonna happen. Like,
I just came out the store, and that's when, matter of fact, that's when niggas was drinking Cisco's and all that funny shit. I just see a nigga walking out in the motherfucking street. They just came out of nowhere with a shotgun, point blank range, just blew a nigga chest wide open.
This kind of violence is going on every day in our communities. Grandmothers are being attacked, mothers are being attacked, kids are being attacked. And it's like, what do we have to do to have some attention focus on this and this dealt with?
Soundview is just known for getting money, hustling, getting your head blown off, pretty much.
Nowhere in America were you more likely to be robbed. Fort Greene, Bed-Stuy, and Brownsville had robbery rates as much as 20 times higher than the national average.
Everything in Brooklyn is about taking and robbing. I wasn't one of them kids who your mothers disciplined you or scrutinized you for, which when I came home, the more I would steal and the more I come home with, my mother would actually be proud of me. And all my other friends that steal and we stealing 50 coats in a day and shit like that, half of these motherfuckers couldn't take it home to their house. They could bring it to my house, though my mother ain't gonna say shit. I started getting my serious cases by like 85 and stuff, you know. A lot of robberies I was into. You know, a lot of the crime and shit I got into, my mother wanted me to go away. She sent me back to Miami to my grandparents and stuff. And once I got there, my grandparents really couldn't deal with me. And they sent me back within a month. And when they sent me back to New York, you know, it's the middle of the winter. And I didn't even have a coat when I came back. And the first day I came home and I didn't have a coat, all my friends was like, fuck that, let's go get some coats. And we went up to high schools and we just robbed a bunch of motherfuckers for their coats, you know?
In the late 80s, two groups that reflected the dark side of the American dream for fame and fortune by any means necessary were founded on the streets of Brooklyn. The Lowlives and the Decepticons, who so terrorized the high schools of New York that school principals would announce their impending arrival to students and let them leave school early. Running the same streets as future heavyweight champions Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe, youths from Brownsville and other poor neighborhoods joined these two street gangs, infamous for their robbery and fashion.
Lowlights is a team of people who came together for surviving in the street, to eat, to dress, and for drama, you know what I mean? Sheepskin coats, leather bombers, V-bubbles and all that. Those clothes and those coats was like everything. So when a nigga gonna stick you up, they gonna stick you for them coats. And in New York is a big value. That's something that motherfucker get killed for. Man, we hit every store in New York. I just me, you know what I mean? There are many that were way greater than me.
To quote their official bio, the Lowlife story is one of struggle, survival, and consequences. It is New York and hip-hop history with the pursuit of the American dream. It's the ghetto mentality nurtured by the realities of poverty and prison. Upper-class Fifth Avenue department stores meets the desperation of Brooklyn housing projects.
You know, a lot of the rappers that were out in those times were emulated what we were doing on the street. They were trying to dress like we were dressing. They were following our style because we was in every hood, every state, you know, every borough, getting every bitch. They was just on TV portraying it, you know what I mean? Come to a Bismarck show and be on stage and hang with niggas while Big Dad Kane is performing and all that, you know what I mean? Like that's how crazy our status was. Cause they know niggas is gonna be on that stage low the fuck down, and this is what Brooklyn was. This represented Brooklyn in a big way.
A Brooklyn nigga could tell a Harlem nigga from wherever, from in the 80s, 90s until now. A Brooklyn nigga could tell a Harlem nigga from day one. And when them D-set niggas was running around when I was in high school, I made the biggest mistake going there because I was all by myself. I ain't know nobody. I'm in class, I come to school, I'm fresh, got my Gap sweatsuits on, chain dangling, rings coming out. You know what I mean? I'm a Harlem nigga, got my shit up. Seeing Brooklyn niggas outside my window, point me out and all that, trying to get me to follow. I gave him the dip the first day. Next day, niggas came. I'm like, man, listen, I need to get out this school. This not for me. I ain't got no niggas here. I ain't no chump, but I'm smart. The D-Ceps was running wild. Like, at that time, if you ain't have a crew of niggas with you, like the D-Ceps was coming for you.
My name is unsafe, like to watch, D-Cep, what's the flavor? I mean, Brownsville, New York. We originated this shit. You see it, look, it's DC, look. Make our clothes, diamonds and all, yeah, it's DC, you know what I mean? And that stands for Decepticons, you know what I mean? Like, when I got D-Cep then, it had to be like probably 87, 86.
Excuse us.
It had to be 87, 86. You know what I'm saying? I was like 14, 15. It's a rapper, which is our best friend, the leader of Trigger Cons. His name is Sean P, best known as Ruck from Helter Skelter.
Yeah, I know.
Boot Camp Clique. That was our leader. One day they was initiating guys, and
Son, I'm gonna give you my other.
this man here, Whip the Kiss, came and got me, and he asked me, yo, do you want to get down with a gang? with this decent shit, like, you know, initiation was you had to fight like 50 niggas. You know what I'm saying?
No fair ones.
No fair ones or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have seen guys get jumped by like 50 guys, go to the hospital right afterwards. 2 weeks later, when they come out the hospital, they come right to the park and be like, yo, am I down?
Like, what am I going to school with these niggas for? I don't know none of these niggas. I ain't play ball in the park with none of these niggas. We ain't do nothing. Niggas don't know nothing about me, so they don't give a fuck about me. I'm out of here.
Fuck that. He asking what school? You should be asking what school didn't do it. Man, Martin Luther King, Sarah J, Dewey, New Utrecht. Now, at this time here, this is 88, 89. We were actually the deepest gang, New York City. We was like 1,000 strong. You got Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, Crown Heights, Fort Greene, Harlem, Bronx. It was like ABG, man. Anybody, they could get it, man. Like, niggas, they was getting robbed for their book bags. Serious, man. Canal Street, that's where I was. Like, Canal Street, I was digging pockets.
Digging pockets is when you just, and you dig a motherfucking pocket and take everything they got. Like in Brooklyn, that was a big thing. Motherfuckers from all over Brooklyn, Fort Greene, East New York, all the different projects. There were a lot of teams that was about digging pockets, like the Diamond District, 47th Street, like anywhere they had these big major corporations, these people make a lot of money, and when they cash their checks, you can see the print on their pocket that showed the money. You know what I mean? Like you, and all you got to do is creep up behind them and dig in their pockets and pull it out.
Now, listen to me, I swear, and I'm gonna tell y'all now, if we was organized crime, right now, I'd have been doing 300 years.
You know, we were doing the prison thing back and forth. But by 1990, motherfuckers were some of the most best trained criminals in the world.
Because they'd been to prison.
Yeah, we've been to prison, surrounded by all other criminals from all other, you know, all other neighborhoods and boroughs, and you're being tested by all other neighborhoods and boroughs to solidify whether you're one of the best or not. You know what I mean? So by early 1990, shit was really, really crazy. And you know, we was out here terrorizing, especially on the subway, man. In New York, one thing about us in New York, I see this like, you know, in a lot of other, one thing I give all the other cities is how they do their cars. These motherfuckers do the candy paint, the Choose and Bold rims, and this, and the hydraulics. In New York, we ain't never give a fuck about a car. You know why? You could meet 1,000 bitches on a train. The train here take you to every fucking borough, every hood, all over this shit. So we never, I didn't start driving till I was in my 20s, cause I never wanted to get a fucking car. You know how many bitches I meet on the train in one day? That was crazy. I ain't never give a fuck about no cars, man.
So how did that all start to come to an end?
As far as all the generals and lowlifes, all the founders and stuff, everybody started facing harsh consequences because of their crimes and their ignorance that they were doing. Like, some of us were doing it on a major scale. It wasn't just shoplifting and shit like that. We were defending our homes, our projects, our families, our friends. A lot of shit really got crazy, so the consequences of all of that was sending people away from a long time. Right now, this motherfucker's just coming home after doing 15 years, just coming home now, since that day. And they greeted the same way, you know what I mean? But that slowed a lot of people down. Not that it slowed us down or it made niggas soft or anything. It wisened us up. It taught us what we were doing, whether we were doing something wrong or right, but it also taught us how to really channel that energy in other ways, man. Because no matter what, we were always, like they said, ghetto celebrities. We were always celebrities. We were always out for the fame.
So, oh yeah, talk about that. How when you said you thought of, well, I shouldn't say thought of yourself, but you were, you know, more so than the rappers or whatever.
I mean, other people would tell you more than we could tell you. And that's what solidifies it all. Like, you know, a lot of the rappers that were out in those times were emulating what we were doing on the street. They were trying to dress like we were dressing. They were following our style because we was in every hood, every state, you know, every borough, getting every bitch. They was just on TV portraying it, you know what I mean? And we were really out there, man. And like, you know, I come home from doing bids, and as soon as day one I come home, I'm getting tickets to, you know, to come to a Bismarck show and be on stage and hang with niggas while Big Daddy Kane is performing and all that. You know what I mean? Like that's how crazy our status was. Cause they know niggas is gonna be on that stage low the fuck down. And this is what Brooklyn was. This represented Brooklyn in a big way as far as the respect value of how other people viewed us, man. And we would fly, like, you know, you hear Nas and AZ always talk that pretty thug, pretty. This is who we were from the gate, you know what I mean? We were always pretty grimy, cause you know Ralph Lauren was always preppy, white, like upscale clothing, but we made it in a hood fashion, fly, and still the same matter. But so the biggest thing I could remember about any of it is that we never knew we were doing anything wrong. We never felt we were doing anything wrong. We never understood consequences until all of these things. Remember, we came from a society where we were already in a shithole. Like, majority of the lowlifes came from dysfunctional households, man. So, when you went outside and you did all these other different things, you still was making an advancement past the household you were living in and what you were seeing every day. You still were coming up in society, even if it was just in your neighborhood, man. You was establishing respect for your household, for your parents, for your elders that lived within your household by all of this shit, man. And consequences is what really taught us what we were doing, whether it was wrong or right. I never look at none of it like it was wrong or right. I just look at it as a phase in my life and my learning experience of what life is, because there's a lot of things going on out there in the government, in the industry, in the fucking Catholic society and in religion, all that nobody can really say is wrong or right. And a lot of that shit is wrong. But it's justified by however they live and what their beliefs are, man. Right now, we give credit to everything we did because we helped hip-hop grow. Because everything we've lived was from a hip-hop fashion and standpoint.
Well, without groups like you, were you kind of the bridge between the street organization, like drugs and just robbery for robbery's sake? Mm-hmm. And you were the intermediate step to then, without you, there couldn't have been the Puff Daddies.
Never would have been a Puff. Yep.
You were still in the street and illegal, but it was making it something else. And then a Puff Daddy would say, "Well, I can do what the lowlights do, but I'm gonna do it legal."
We were the first ones to bring Fifth Avenue to the hood. You know what I mean? The Ralph Lauren's and the Gucci, because we did the Gucci hard too. You know, the Gucci was a big thing in Brooklyn in the 80s, the Gucci sneakers and all that. You know, the Jay-Z S. Carter sneaker is a replica of the actual Gucci sneaker.
Yeah. Well, that shit was big in Detroit. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but the S. Carter or the Gucci sneaker, which one was big in Detroit?
Oh, the Gucci.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, in here in Brooklyn and all that, that was a serious thing. Like, you walk out your house with a pair of Gucci sneakers.
Oh, yeah, you
fucking
better.
Every bitch that... Yeah. You fucking every bitch from... I could walk from here to motherfucking Flatbush and walk through every project.
If you don't get them took.
I'm going to get me 100 phone numbers on my journey there. And ain't nobody taking nothing. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we held it. Because that was another thing we established within lowlifes is... You could wear all these, you know, designer brands in the ghetto and in prison, because we did it like this in prison. When lowlifes went to prison, they wore Gucci, they wore Polo, they wore...
How did you protect that?
You had to be a gangster within your heart and your life. So, I mean, pertaining to the person and the individual you were, that's what said whether you was keeping it or not, or who you knew. You know what I mean? Because some people could rely on who you know. It's like, I'll be honest and say, like, I'm gangster to my heart all the way, as far as what I'm going to do to protect mine. But I was able to walk in certain places, and just because this motherfucker was my people's and my man and part of my team, I didn't have to prove shit. They already knew what the fuck it was, because that's my man. This nigga, what? Ralph Lowe, your man? What? Frankie Boo, your man? Disco, your man? Barkim, your man? And you got a red carpet automatically no matter what prison you walk through. And you could walk through some of the worst prisons. And you could ride just off of somebody else's name without people looking at you fake. They already know who you are and how you established because your people you're associated by.